Dear Greg, several years ago, we found out that my brother is a drug addict. He quit working and now he spends his time in and out of rehab centers. It's embarrassing. When he spends his time with the family, which isn't that often, we don't know what to talk about. We have a pretty normal family, so we don't understand how he could turn out like this.
Every year, we spend uncounted billions of dollars treating and preventing drug addiction. But we're making very little headway because we don't understand the primary cause of addiction. People don't start using drugs because they're healthy, happy, and looking for something to add to their happiness. They use drugs because something is seriously wrong in their lives, and they hope drugs will fix their problems. So, what's the real problem? More than anything in the world, we all want people to care about our happiness, no matter what mistakes we make. We want real love, unconditional love, and the loving relationships and the happiness that always accompany it. But most of us haven't received enough real love, so we settle for whatever makes us feel better, even for a moment, including drugs. Drugs will never make us happy, but they do feel better than living with the pain of not feeling loved. We can become addicted to anything that makes us feel better. Any behavior becomes an addiction when, 1, it makes us feel good, or at least takes away our pain. 2, we use it compulsively, not just casually. And 3, it has a negative effect on our lives. Unfortunately, most of us add a 4th criterion to the diagnosis of addiction. Addicts must behave in a way that's unacceptable to us personally, which usually means they have to be doing something that we're not doing. Then we don't ever have to consider the possibility that we might have an addiction too. We prefer to point our fingers at other people. Addiction is fairly obvious when people are abusing drugs and alcohol, but we usually don't recognize that there are many things other than drugs and alcohol that most of us use in addictive ways. We use food, success, power, praise, and money to feel better. And because we use those in compulsive and often destructive ways, they become addictions. We have a hard time identifying power and success, for example, as addictions because their abuse is so common. Many of us spend our entire lives battling for success and trying to control the lives of the people around us, from which we get a sense of power. But because these behaviors are so common, we've come to accept them as normal. In fact, when people are especially good at acquiring power and success, not only do we not label them addicts, we admire them and praise them. We take their pictures, write about them in the newspaper, and often try to model our lives after them. When we don't have enough real love, the pain is intolerable. And then we look for relief from that pain with all our energy. And once we've found something that makes us feel better, we often just cannot stop using it. That compulsion is just as real with praise, approval, sex, and power as it is with drugs and alcohol. You might wonder, how could success and approval be bad? Everybody wants those things. Success and approval become harmful when we pursue them to make us feel better in the absence of sufficient real love. Anything we use as a substitute for real love, praise, power, pleasure, safety, becomes a form of imitation love. And all those things feel so good that they distract us from the life-giving pursuit of real love. That's why addictions are so bad, because they simply distract us from what we really need and cripple us in our search for genuine happiness. So, enough about addiction in general. Now, what about your brother? We'll talk more about your brother and specifically about approaching his problem in our next session.